Okay, so it happened after all. What I didn't expect, what I'm talking about is the German rambling that I just did. And I said I made one after a while, but I don't want to make it too long because I know most of you don't want to watch so long videos. So I'm trying not to get to an hour. I kind of cut it off at about 57 minutes, so I didn't really achieve what I wanted to. But yeah, like I said, I haven't done one for quite a while for various reasons, which I don't want to go into. And for those who wanted to know it or who want to know it, there is Twitter where I answered this already. And even though people didn't really like the fact that ramblings are very rare by now, and also live tech Q&As, they understood it after I explained it. Because the thing is just that I don't think most people really care too much about the rambling being a rare thing. And it will stay like this, but it has a good reason why it's a little bit more rare. The live tech Q&A, I get why people want it, but for me it just was always, and I should have actually restarted the cam. But you will have to live with the same issue as the German ones had, because the problem is the camera will have these kind of issues with the cam where it brightens up and goes down in terms of brightness. I'm not quite sure. That's an issue of the cam. I would be able to fix it if I turn it off, but they had to live with that an hour through. But it wasn't all that bad. 3 or 4 times it happened. But like I said, the live tech Q&A was a thing that just didn't quite get me back what I wanted. It was very exhausting making 2, like 1.5 hours long each with the preparation and so on. So I lost like 4, yeah, here you see what I mean. And I lost like 4 or 5 hours every time. And then if I made it more regularly, like every week, I heard always the same questions. And it was a little bit not really satisfying, a little bit boring for me, a little bit repetitive. And that's why I said, if maybe like once a month, and also that I turn off just for the reason, and that has nothing to do with the views or the likes and so on, but I just have to be honest, for every rambling, I, let's say, lose 15 to 20 subscribers for each version of the video. And actually, it's not a big thing, because I get like 70, 80 subscribers a day. So what's 20 on a week? Of course, plus the ones that I usually lose anyways, but it's not a big deal. But I just thought, yeah, too much isn't too good, because I noticed if I made them too regularly, people started being kind of drawn off. They didn't like the fact that the rambling. Also, okay, back then I was very negative and so on. A little bit, what's the term? Melodramatic and so on. Yeah, it didn't quite fit the term, because many said it's a tech channel, I don't want to know about your personal stuff and so on, and that's why I want to cut off. And actually, one thing that I've noticed, I always said that the ramblings are my vent, so everything that builds up the whole week I can then let go, and then I feel better. I actually noticed it was maybe even doing the opposite, because I think just because I knew every week I can vent, I eat up all the things that I had, and then I let them out. But then, once I didn't, for example, release Rambling for a week, I noticed that I just didn't really eat up those things. They happened and they were gone, and they happened and they were gone. And since I knew I don't have anything to talk about at the end of the week, I didn't really think that I should talk about these things, because so many times actually, if I made the notes on Monday, Wednesday and something like that, and then talked at the end of the week, I actually, all those things that I would have otherwise already forgotten or be done with, got back to me, and then I talked about it and I had to process them. And this was maybe actually something that kind of took me back more. Okay, many people could say, why are you always talking about these things? Yeah, I totally agree. But I could also talk about news. The thing is, news, that I explained already why I don't do news and such things on Ramblings, because then the whole week I just watch out for things that I should talk about, and that's why I can't really enjoy tech, because I can't just let it in, let it out. I always think, is this interesting? Is this interesting? Or isn't it? And so on. So that's why I said no to that kind of things. And so they will happen organically. If I think like I have to say something, like for example now, this is already my end of the year, my final Rambling for 2017. I will tell you what I'm planning ahead on 2018, what 27 happened and such things, and yeah. So since I don't really have a plan, I have no notes at all, and I completely already have no plan what I've talked in the German one, which I mostly already actually rambled on for quite some while, and very weirdly I jumped into this topic and this topic and this topic, so nothing was really laid out. So this will just happen as well, and that's why in case you know both languages or understand both, you should maybe watch even both if you want the whole conversation, because I don't think I will nearly talk. The camera is really annoying me. Nearly talk about the same things. If it happens 2 times more, then maybe I would have to actually restart this whole thing again. But it's actually more of an excuse for me to use my new PC to check that out. I will talk about that a little bit later, my Threadripper build. But what's the first topic that I should get into? Actually, I have no idea. Okay, that's a problem. I would have liked to have kind of the same starting point so I can jump into the next topics like I did on the German one, but I have no idea what my first big topic was. But let's just talk about 2018, what's planned. And first of all, actually, for all those people who maybe fear that with more audio stuff, the things like the the phone reviews will go down, that's not gonna happen. There will be pretty much no impact at all on the smartphone reviews. Content shifts slightly because laptop reviews are a little bit of on hold for a while, I would say, because I just noticed that if I do those, I don't use my home theater at all anymore, because I think the whole year I used my home theater for videos, for movies three times. I think I watched 3 movies on that, and that was the only 3 times the whole year, if not maybe even just 2, that I used my projector, that I used my surround system, that I spent so much money on making someone build it and so on, since it's a custom built one. And I want that back, because when I reviewed laptops, I always did everything I usually do also on the projector on the laptop, and that's why I said I just have to let that go. Maybe make it sometimes if something interesting comes up, but otherwise I just lost too much, because I'm at a point, I had to just accept that, where I got way more subscribers and everything else than I would have ever expected. And I'm now at the level where having fun and doing what I'm actually interested in is more important than ever. And not that I'm usually not interested in, but now the focus is slightly shifted. And like I said, this has no impact on the smartphone reviews, but into audio stuff. So more headphone reviews, speaker reviews will be coming, and also TV reviews and such, maybe even projectors and so on. So that's, for me, a way where I can make or get done with my old hobbies, but still make YouTube videos and so on. Actually, due to that, I have more access, because otherwise I can't review without YouTube speakers, headphones and such. And yeah. But like I said, no impact at all on the smartphones, because I can review smartphones anyways, because that's the way I review them, is just the way I use them. So I have to use a phone anyways, and if it's a review phone, it's fine. During work, at home, and so on, which is also a fact because of the laptops. I notice at home I use the laptop then more, and therefore the phones less. So this is also a good thing. And I can review more phones anyways, and I won't review less, because I use one at a time, sometimes a few on the sides just to see them, but normal daily driver use, it's pretty much the same. So I can't put out possibly more phone reviews, and I buy now over 200 phones that I have reviewed. I think that's a good number. I have no idea how many I did review this year, but it must have been a bunch, because I did not use my own phones a lot. I will actually go to some outstanding phones for me a little bit later if I don't forget it. Other than that, what's gonna change? Like I said, laptops less, headphone reviews still, as much as I can get my hands on. TVs, I will try to start with that as well. First one is already here. And then, of course, some speakers. For now, I want to go into more active speakers, powered ones, because I don't have yet a proper one to review high-end stereo speakers, because it's not my main one and in the second room. So I need one good one where I can properly review one of them all. Same goes also for the headphone amp. And that's also one thing that will cost a lot of money. And before I'm going to spend like 1,000 euros on an amp, I need to get the right one, because there are a lot of good ones, but which one is the right one for me? And that's actually also for the TVs. There is a specific reason why I took pretty much the best one out there as first. So the Sony OLED, 65 inches, it's roughly over 3,000 euros, dollars maybe also. And I took that one, even though I know most people are actually not interested in the flagship, because most people want good value. But I needed to know what is the benchmark, what is possible, and then trickle down to see how much you get for less. So if you pay like 1,500, do you get half the experience, or do you maybe just get 20% less or something like that? So I needed a base point, and I think if I would have started in the middle or at the bottom, I never would have known the maximum. So now I know pretty much what's possible, because that OLED is pretty much the TV to get, because it's pretty much flawless. And that's important for me. And it's not just flawless, it's great, amazing in terms of video qualities and so on, but it's also flawless, because there could be one that is just maybe as good in some aspects and then have some negative sides that break the experience, which is something that I don't see on that one. So I will try to then review maybe some more budget ones. And also, I hope that's possible. Panasonic won't be possible, because they only give out the devices, like I kind of think, just to professionals. That's what they told me, at least for their cameras. But I will try to get also Samsung and LG. I'm not quite sure if either is possible, but I have my fingers crossed. And that's where you come in actually a little bit, because it really depends on how those first TV reviews get accepted. If they get a lot of views, and especially maybe a lot of comments and maybe sharing and so on, because that's just the thing also about the whole audio gear. Because I notice that's a word that I say a lot. Sorry, because it's whenever I don't know what to say, many people say or I say because. It looks like, but the headphone reviews, I have no problem at all if I get 500 views for every headphone review. But the problem is, for example, right now I have one for $1,500 here from Odyssey. Now, if the company that gave me that, not the company, but the distributor gives me that, and he sees I gave him something for 1,500 loaner, don't think he gifted it to me or something like that. And why should I give him such something expensive and he gets like 500 views? That's never gonna make up what we would need it for anything to have make sense for us. And the thing is also, what I don't quite get is, but I've said it already in the German one, which doesn't matter to you, I think I either for headphone reviews make the wrong reviews for the right people, or the right reviews for the wrong people. And I think it's actually the first one, because yeah, I say it too often, but in this case it makes sense. The thing is, the headphones that I review are not really mainstream. And those people who don't want mainstream headphones, like the Odyssey, like the Monolith M1060s, and those higher end ones, they want, I think, something that I don't provide. I think the thing is that I review headphones more on a mainstream base to keep it understandable. But that crowd actually wants more like mainstream headphones, like Sony's, maybe JBL's, Beats, and so on. And that's where my reviews are, I think, easily good enough, if not almost a little bit too detailed. But for the audiophiles, for something like an Odyssey LCDX, they want some specific information that I don't provide yet, but also because I don't really want to. Because I've seen so many audiophiles. If they make reviews, they talk about, I see a dip or a peak at this and this frequency and this, and it has, and they go into a little bit odd specifics that I don't care about, because I don't care about a high pitch or a jump at 8 kilohertz or a dip at 500 hertz. That's something that I hear as well, but I don't really talk about it in that way. But I would say in the highs there is something a little bit sharp, or there is a little bit of a dropout, something that sounds a bit dull in the mids, or the bass isn't punchy. And I try to explain it in an easy to understand way, which for audiophiles who know the terms, the language, for them sounds dumbed down. And even though actually I would provide enough information, I don't think that's the presentation that they want. The way that I make my reviews is actually, I think, less of an issue, because I've seen so many that do reviews just in front of the cam and having the headphone in the hand and just talk. Because audiophiles don't really care so much about presentation. The real audiophiles, the big ones, not the mainstream ones, like for example what Soundgeist does. That's way too flashy in my opinion, and the way they explain it is also not for audiophiles. So I'm kind of actually somewhere in between. But yeah, like I said, I will continue doing them just because it's a passion of mine. But I still have a lot to learn. Since I just recently I contacted a very high-end store and asked if I could get some headphone amps from them to review, and they said yes, we could now offer you this and this. There was one for $1,300 or euros, I mean. And what I said is, I had to just be honest. I said I just started actually headphone reviews like a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, maybe for a year a little bit more sophisticated. And I just don't have the knowledge yet about amps. I've reviewed about 40 headphones by now, listened to a few more, of course, on CanJam, but I can't really say which kind of headphone amp belongs into which category. And since then I didn't get an answer. Maybe because, like I said maybe I'm a little bit too noobish for this high-end device, but somewhere you have to start. And I don't think it's maybe too or completely wrong, because on the TV side I started at the high end to see what's possible down. And if I now, for example, get something super high end and then trickle down to lower end ones, I know what's possible. So it would have been nice, and I hope they will answer me still, but I actually think it's a bit. There was another company that also makes one that contacted me actually, that makes some high-end gear, portable mostly. I hope I will get something there, because I have to build up my knowledge. I just don't have the year-long experience that some have that reviewed already a couple of dozens of headphone amps. In terms of headphones, I know, because I've heard all the good ones by now at least. Even though I haven't reviewed them on CanJam, I got the chance in a good amount of time to hear what's possible. And with a few now here as well. So here I'm actually covered quite good. It's just the way that I'm gonna make the reviews maybe and such that I have to figure out to maybe attract some other ones, because 500 people every time, I'm okay with that. But I've also seen, for example, the smaller channels, they have like 10,000, 20,000 subscribers, but every video of them, every review gets 50, 60, 100, 200,000 views. Because once such a device gets released, then people know I get to this channel, but they maybe don't subscribe it. I have, of course, most of my subscribers due to smartphone reviews, maybe a little bit some headsets, but usually also like tablets and laptops. But for the headphone review, I think I don't have more than 200 or 300 of my over 60,000 subscribers that are interested in the audio gear. And that's something that I'm trying to slowly build up in 2018, just because that's the next passion project of mine. I want something a little bit different. And I knew it would be a long, rocky road, but I didn't expect it to go down that bad, because something like this rambling will get about 1,000 views, I would say. And that's not a lot, but that's something that I didn't have to spend any extra time. I just went here, didn't even make any notes. I'm just talking and I'm just sharing my opinion, sharing what's going on and so on. But a headphone review usually takes me like at least 3-4 weeks, because I just want to live with, and I don't want to just, because I could make such a review in a week. I could listen to it I do that every day for multiple hours and I know everything, but I just want to live with it normally. For example, one day not listen at all to it, then get it back, because for just the Ultrazone that I have here, the Signature Pro, the first 2 weeks I didn't really like the comfort and the sound I liked, but on the third week already I liked the sound a lot more, because I then noticed some specific characteristics that it has. And yesterday, after having spent 2 days on my PC, I didn't really watch any, or I didn't listen to music. I put them on, and yeah, for all of a sudden they were super comfy. Just because my ears maybe didn't focus so much on reviewing of how comfortable it is, and that maybe made a difference. And yeah, what else? Yeah, TV reviews, I said it already. Speaker reviews, I wanted to start with the powered ones first, but the problem is also that I'm not quite sure if it makes too much sense for me to review the ones that I get my hands on right now at first, because I will get something from Cambridge Audio. That one will be released in 2 languages because it's an international product. Now the issues are the next ones. Teufel, German company, doesn't really sell outside of Germany. It doesn't make sense for me to make it also in English. Same goes for Nubert, and yeah, that was it. So those brands, Nubert and Teufel, I think there was one more, are not really international brands, so it doesn't really make sense to me. And for example, I could get maybe Heko and Magnat. Those are international, so maybe that will come. But the thing is, we have a lot of speaker builders in Germany, which are not international really, not known internationally. So I'm not quite sure if it just makes sense for me to review them as well. Maybe because if I see it loosely and I make it and I don't care because most people won't watch it because they can't get it. So I don't know, it really depends on how maybe convinced I am of the device also, but it will come down. But like I said, no impact on the phone reviews, laptop reviews a little bit less, and a lot more audio gear the more I can get my hands on and such. Other than that, let's take a little bit of a look at 2017. I'm not quite sure of that's not what I wanted to do. I'm not sure. I think I started this year at about 30,000 subscribers. I'm at a little bit over 60 now. So on average about 2.5, sometimes 3,000 subscribers a month. I was for month one at over 4,000. That was a strong month, but I would say my growth is fine. I actually achieved way more than I would have ever expected. I never would have thought that I could get so much for the style that I do. And now a lot of people say I'm talking myself down, not being professional and so on, but I just last week checked a little few other channels, smaller ones than me, that do a little bit of just a nicer presentation. Those videos are easier to watch. And what I never will be able to do is make these kind of sovereign reviews, because I've seen that so many, even though they make the more kind of raw style videos like I just talk in front of the cam, they talk without issues. They talk very smoothly, very in one nice way. I stumble often, I think about what I should say, and it doesn't sound smooth, it doesn't sound round, not polished. And seeing those channels being actually smaller than me made me feel good, because I know even though I'm way more raw, I'm way more, I wanted to say mature, I'm way more amateur than those seem, I still somehow managed to get over 60,000 subscribers. Okay, views are something else, since this is a thing that I'm not quite understanding. Because for the last about 30,000 subscribers that I got, or let's say 20 maybe, I didn't really get a similar raise in terms of views, which was always the same. Usually when I got more subscribers, I got also more views, obviously. But this didn't happen for the last 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months. Because I have a constant viewership, it slowly goes up, but not in the same way, because I would have expected if I have way more subscribers. After all, it's like twice as much as I had at the beginning, but it's not twice as much views. I'm not quite sure how, let's actually see how much that has improved, because that would interest me actually, personally. Views 1 year. Yeah, they have actually, it says 86% in the last year, which would have almost been a doubling. But there's also the 1-2 super strong months to that, because if I look at the graph, which you can maybe see here, this looks more like a third, especially at the end. This would be at the end. This looks like maybe a third more, but yep, that's all good. So I did a good job. I'm actually happy, and maybe this shows in videos that I kind of care less more, because it's some way what I always wanted to do but never was able to, because I said it, because I think I've said it already like 50 times already, and someone once actually in one video, he told me that I say because way too often, and I said, yeah, count it and tell me later. He actually did. He said 34 times, but he said this on another video as well, and I kind of doubt that I said because 34 times in both. Maybe he just said 34 because he knew I dared him to count it, and he kind of took my bluff on it, and he bluffed because he didn't maybe really count. I don't think anyone would watch the video and really count all these causes. And what was I going? Actually, what was the topic? That's my great micro brain, micro short-term memory. Views, yeah, they didn't just go up the same way. Yeah, I'm happy and I care. Yeah, actually, that's what I wanted to say. Since I have this level that I would have never expected to get, I always said I want to make videos more casual, more loose, and I don't really care so much, but this is the time, and I think in some videos it's quite obvious, where I just say to myself, no, I'm just gonna leave the summary out, I'm just gonna go up and talk, and sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It's really a thing of how I wake up. That's really a big important factor, or how the day was for me. If the day was very stressful, I'm a little bit more exhausted, then I maybe don't want to talk, but I actually think it's the other way around, because I noticed when the day was great and I have a good mood, then I just want to kind of talk, and then I can talk very smoothly, so nicely, and I just don't care. Since I think in the last, there were already times where I had like 100 attempts to just get the intro right, which is maybe a minute long. Some attempts are just 30 seconds, but let's say it costs me 1 or 2 hours. This is time that I just don't want to spend, so I try to kind of cut that down. What I did also on the reviews, I try as much as possible to optimize my reviews, and this is something that you can for 2018 already expect. Not a big change. There won't be a revolution at all, but not even a huge evolution. What I'm trying to do is get a few things right, because I would kind of make the videos a little bit more compact with the same amount of information. But I don't really see how, because I thought about just cutting off the summary, but then I think I want the summary. That's a very important part for me, because anyone who wants to know more about the device but doesn't want to spend 20 minutes, just watch the summary, because in these 1 or 2 minutes, I'm telling you pretty much all you need to know, all the basics in a small, compact format, and that's something that I don't want to leave. Don't want to get rid of. Same goes for the conclusion. The conclusion is very important, even though that's the least thought through part of mine. I never really think about what I'm actually going to say until this happens, because when I go through all the review parts and then see that that's where it just organically, naturally comes up, then I talk about value. What I'm planning, or what I think about doing, is actually, though, if I review one device at a certain price point, I will maybe mention a few competitors above and below that, just so you have some sort of reference point. Since I've noticed that a lot of people who are not like the main viewers here, or the big core group, not maybe that knowledge, or yeah, they don't know so much about phones. They don't really know what to compare a device with. They see, okay, the review here and this and that, but what's a little bit above that possible, a little bit lower? Can I pay like 100 less and get a similar device experience? So I'm trying to maybe get that in, even though that's not that easy, because the competitors I know here are in most countries not competitors at all. So that's hard for me always to get this on a global scale. Usually I see everything from a more German point and the US point, but besides of that, it's very hard to get that done right. But cutting, I will try to get as much as that cut out, because maybe you've noticed it already in the last videos. There is just this little thing that says the description contains the time codes and the specifications, which like 2 or 3 people said, why did you cut it? It was nice to see that. For me, that comes with a few benefits. First of all, I made a lot of mistakes in terms of the specs, and once you have that hard-coded into the video, you can't change it. So I thought it's better to just leave that in the description, and if I make a mistake, like I usually do, I can correct it. And those people who usually watch my reviews actually already know the specs, so they don't care. But for those who want to, there is an easy way to access them afterwards. So it's kind of a win-win, and most importantly, it actually saves me a lot of time. Since usually what I always do is I get to the editing and then I watch the whole review. Usually I skip through by now, because I know roughly here is this part, and I go through it to see the time codes. And then I also did the specs and so on. But now what I do is I just cut off the first part, I cut off the end part, put in the part with the description, and maybe put something in the middle if I knew I made a mistake, or if I see one maybe, because I don't really watch the videos anymore. I know, I've talked it. If I feel good about what I said, I leave it as this and I just upload it the way it is. And during the time it processes, actually then not, during the time it uploads, then I rewatch the video, because that's time that I can't do anything anyways. It's uploading. And when it's uploading, then that time I can use actually efficiently and take the time codes, insert all the information into the description box and so on. So this makes me more efficient, because it saves me like half an hour per video at least. Or at least, let's say half an hour for both is also, that's already time. The upload costs me like a half an hour for both. The editing, so I cut down quite a lot. I've noticed that. I think the last video in total costed me 2.5 hours for 2 languages. The upload was quite quickly done. The description, so it saves me a lot of time. And the more time, or let's say the less time, the fewer time I spent during the review process and delivering you the content, the more I can spend time on reviewing other things again. Because I was never a quality guy. I will never provide you some super nice visuals and so on. That was never important for me and never will be. And since I can provide the best quality, which definitely would make things easier, because if I would just make 2 videos or maybe 3 videos a week that are super amazing and get a lot of views, that would be way more helpful than my 6 videos a week that are low quality. But I don't want to spend that time into. I see so many channels spending like a whole week or 3 days just on the review alone. I don't want that. I rather go for quantity, because that gives me the chance to review more devices, and not many reviewers that I know ever went through so many devices like I did. And just because and it doesn't mean that I spend less time with them, maybe even more so, since I don't need to waste time on the review. And if I would spend, let's say, twice the time on a review, it wouldn't it wouldn't turn out to be twice as good. It would be maybe turn out 10-20% better. And most people of you, or at least the viewers that would watch, don't really care so much about it. It's fine for me. I totally accepted that. What else? So, like I said, viewer growth that. Should I already go into my PC? I think yes, because it will take up also quite some time. So I built a PC, and yeah, sorry for those who maybe are waiting for a live stream or so. It didn't happen for one stupid reason, but no, it's just the thing that I usually do every video in 2 languages, and if I would have made a live stream about the build, I could have just done this in only 1 language, and one would have had to suffer. So I said rather none, and what I will maybe do is a summary video for both languages. So no one wins, but no one really loses. I also built actually quite late at night, because it was supposed to come on Friday, the last part that I needed, the RAM. And I was waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting the whole day. And then I checked, and I've seen at 8 p.m. the box has arrived. I'm waiting here the whole day. No one has rang my door. What I did then, checked my mail, and he squeezed the box in that can't fit in there. Yeah. So then at 8 p.m. I saw it, and then I built a PC, because I just wanted to know if it runs before I build anything, because I built it outside and then later on in the case. And I also did have no sponsors at all. The only thing that I got for free was the case, because of a review like over a year ago I never did. And then I just said to myself, I will put in everything. In this case, since I have it anyways, the NZXT H440 V2. And I guess you want to know more about the PC. Before I'm going into the specs and so on, let me talk about if it's necessary. Did I need it? No, obviously not. I have just 2-year-old PC that was kind of high-end enough back then. i7 6700K overclocked to 3.6 gigahertz. No, 4.6. Whoa, it's been so long. No, 3.8 or something. I absolutely can't remember anymore. It's been so long since I've overclocked, and I completely lost the numbers. 4.6. It's 4.6, I think. Wow. Completely blanked on that. But yeah, and 32 gigs of RAM, 1070 and so on. But I thought I wanted to try an AMD once. For a while I thought about the 1700 as maybe slightly jump up, but I said, no, let's go to the 1800, but that's not really a jump. And once Threadripper came out, I thought, let's build, for me, an overkill PC with a Threadripper 1950X, and that's what it's turned out. So, parts. Like I said, nothing got sponsored. I had to pay for everything. The Threadripper 1915X I got for 870 euros. It was cheaper already by now, but when I bought it, that was the best price, and it was actually available for a lot less after a while, but I didn't wait. Then I have 32 gigabytes of RAM, 3200 megahertz, class 14, Trident Z. silver red. I paid 450 for that. That's crazy expensive. But RAM, yeah, we know what RAM is all about. I still have my 1070. I took that out of the other PC. There I will put in back the 970 once I get to that. Then I have a 1000 watts PSU power unit. It's overkill. I thought if I get the 1080 Ti at some point, or maybe even Volta, I will need more, but 1000 wasn't necessary, and I overpaid for it with 215. The biggest issue is that that's actually the weirdest coincidence ever. The cheapest price at that moment for about 250 euros was on Amazon. I thought, yeah, if I can get it at Amazon, great service and so on, I will get it there. And I thought, should I maybe check what the 850 is, just in a relation, so I know what that's actually about, because 850 would have been totally enough. And I thought, nah, I set myself to get the 1000, so I will stay with that. At exactly that point, I ordered it a little bit before 6 p.m. and a little bit before 6 p.m. there was a flash deal, a lightning deal for 138 euros for the 850 watt version. So I would have saved 80 euros. And usually the 850 is like about 175 with shipping and so on. So I was so angry about that, and I actually even cancelled my order, but it didn't went through, so I got it anyways. And at the end I said, let's just forget it. Let's use the 1000 watts. Let's let it be overkill. The mainboard is an Asus ASRock X399 Taichi. And I have an NVMe, the 960 Evo, 500 gigs. I bought from when I had some kind of money points left from Rakuten when I bought something. Then I have, in terms of storage, I think that's the only thing left. Oh, water cooling, yeah, I used the Enermax Liquitech 360 Red water cooler. The only thing that went wrong here is that the two brackets where you put the 4 screws in for the CPU didn't quite fit. And afterwards I noticed that they actually have a little bit give if you push them. But I didn't think of pushing them in so the screws would fit. What I thought, let me actually lose the 2 screws that I've seen, and maybe I can tighten it. But I did not know at this point. I just didn't check. It was like almost 10 p.m. I opened it. That was the water filling, the fittings, the 2 screws where you fill in or let out the water. So a little bit squashed out. I think maybe like a little teaspoon or half a teaspoon. I hope it makes no impact at all, because I immediately closed it again, but that water was already dripping over my hands. It wasn't a lot. I hope that's not making an issue, because I don't notice anything yet. But I'm just gonna check back if Enermax replies to me, because I will really know if that little bit maybe even makes an impact, especially on the long term, if there's maybe some air inside now or just water missing. I hope it does not make an effect. I will see. Okay, what else? This is actually the weird thing. It looks like I'm a little bit crooked, even though I've checked something is crooked, even though it seems like I'm in water, because the shirt is 100% right, but like this, but something is crooked. It must be with the cam, because I sit right. I'm not sitting like that. Yeah. The case I said already, the H440 from NZXT, that's what I just had. It's fine. I think I will actually leave it without the front on, because then it has way more ventilation towards the front. There is an air filter anyways, and it looks actually quite good like this as well. So I think I will just leave it like that. With my poor cable management, actually at the moment I can't close the back door. I have both open right now, because I wanted to know if everything is stable, and then I will get the cabling done a little bit. Yeah, in terms of storage, what I took out of my old one is my 500 gigabyte Evo, my 850 Evo, and then the crucial 750 gigabyte, the MX300. And what I have for my Steam games is a 1 terabyte SanDisk, which is not really that good. It's externally though, so I can use it for other systems as well. So that's the PC. Yep. The good thing about this is, what I'm really happy is I didn't really test it yet with the RAM fully on, because I booted up and I was happy it was quad channel and everything, but I did not have it set to 3.2 gigabytes. What I did for now, but I didn't check it yet. But that gives me a chance, because I will recode these 2 videos and then I know how good it is. But from my first checking, but that was not with the RAM yet set to 3200 and with the CPU not overclocked, which I haven't yet either. I usually, for a 5-minute video, I need like 5.5, 6 minutes, and I needed 3.5. Maybe that even goes down with the faster RAM and overclock if I will do one, to maybe 3. So I saved quite some time. Of course, I didn't need that, but it will help me. If I maybe save for a 30-minute video 10 minutes, over the course of the whole year and longer, this will save me quite some time. It will make things just more convenient. What I could also do is actually though use this one for one video that I render and the other one for the other one. It's a possibility, but I have to see how I will interconnect both. And actually, I'm not quite sure if I want to leave this one here because I don't need 2 PCs in one room. I wanted to use it downstairs to record my hi-fi videos on that one, but then I need 2 more capture cards, which both cost about 170, and well, that's some extra costs because for the hi-fi studio I need to spend so much more extra money. I did already spend for the lighting, room acoustics a little bit, not quite done with that yet. I will need to spend money for another microphone down there, another tripod I already ordered, and 2 capture cards, especially if I will need an amp for that and maybe an headphone here. This will be very expensive. So pretty much everything that I've earned more than I spent this year, I will blow out next year. But that's kind of the way it works. And this is why I would really, because I thought about getting back to Patreon. That would help me. But I don't think it would really give me what I want. Because I said back then already that I don't want to make Patreon again when I stopped it last time. Since I don't want to give people extra privileges. If someone wants to give me money because he appreciates my videos, he could do that always with donations via PayPal. But over the last, I think since ever I did YouTube, I got like 5 or 6 or 7, and this year 3, which already was surprisingly a lot because I think 2016 I got none at all. But I got those, and if I guess mostly Patreon isn't interesting for most if you know you don't get any extra content. But I always said if I will make Patreon, I don't want anyone to feel less than someone who pays for it or donates it. But you kind of have to make... I also thought just about doing the ramblings and maybe the live tech Q&As for the Patreons, because I know those, since they are willing to spend a little bit money on the channel, and they would appreciate it. With everything being publicly, and I know I lose actually subs on the ramblings and on the live Q&A. People don't appreciate with all the dislikes. Why not just have just those people in who come because of that content, who like the ramblings, who like the live tech Q&A? Maybe, I don't know. And the thing is, back when I had it, I had like, I think less than 10,000 subscribers, if at all. And I had like 3 Patreons, and I got like $5 a month. And is that really worth it anyway? So it's kind of actually frustrating because you have 60,000 subscribers and you have like 5 Patreons. Because that's what I expect to get if I would start it again. Maybe 10 at best, and that's already kind of crazy up there. Since I've seen channels, there are channels at about 130,000, just for example, one. I don't want to call out the name if he maybe doesn't want to. And he has, I think, $40-50 that he gets every month. That's not a whole lot. But actually brings me to one point. I've seen another channel, he's like 50,000 subscribers big, and he has a Patreon, and he said that he's thinking about quitting YouTube and all that, because he doesn't quite get back what he wants to. And then he said if just 1% of those 50,000 would spend $1, he would have 500. And if my math is wrong now, let's forget it. But he would get $500. And if he would know that regularly he gets $500 a month, then he would have already a lot more motivation. For me, money isn't the motivation, because the good thing is I don't have to spend money on the review units for shipping sometimes. But I have access to pretty much everything by now. And for me, the main motivation is just to play with the tech, share my opinion with that, keep people from buying bad stuff, but buying good stuff. And that's also, I actually almost forgot that, GearBest. That is almost a thing of the past, because I think I will quit that quite soon. I got review devices from them, and I could keep them, which was actually the one thing with all those things that I've sold. I mostly sponsored in some way myself the PC that I got. Since GearBest is a thing, like I said already, if you buy something through my links, I get a third of that as some kind of budget to buy next devices. But the last few weeks or months, he told me that I don't get the raise, the growth like other do. Will with the ones he works together with. And it's quite easy. I said to him, I'm no salesperson. I'm a reviewer. And if I don't have anything good to review, and let's be honest, most of the stuff what I ordered there is crap besides. And that's the only companies that I can recommend usually in general are Xiaomi, Meizu maybe, and some smaller ones. And I have still access to those through CCT Shop, yes, and Trading Shenzhen. So sure, the big benefit is I could keep those devices and then sell them, make money. And if I, for example, what I usually do, sell them for half the price. So if I get something for $200, I sold it for $100, and I still made my $100, not including taxes and such. And I would never make any sort of that kind of money on the video itself, where I make maybe like $5 if it's good. So it's not quite worth bothering, because he already told me so many times I should make top 5 videos. I should make a best of that video and so on to promote them and make promotion videos. And I just don't want that. That's not what I want to do. If I make less money without the channel, reviewing that kind of cheap stuff isn't really interesting to you. Anyways, it was very stressful for me. So I don't think that's gonna be that important of a thing in the future. I will just focus on the good Chinese devices. Even though I know a lot of actually now subscribers, viewers by now are coming because of the Chinese stuff. But I don't need the cheap stuff. There are enough channels that make enough affiliate money who just praise every device, even as shit as it is, to get affiliate money. There are channels who just review Chinese crap phones, praise the hell out of them, make affiliate money, and that's worth for them. Because just check a few certain channels. 80% of every new video is a new best. Best phone, best phone, best phone. Doesn't the word best lose its meaning if 5 out of 6 devices are the best ones? How can everything new be just always the best? They just make it out of money, because those channels make less views than I do, and they still make a living off of that. So it works. Through affiliate money, if you make a lot, you can actually make a living just through affiliate money, and you don't really need the views from YouTube. So just to be clear, I'm rather not even trying to get there, because I don't want that money if I would get it through unethical wrong reviews. Those devices aren't worth it. Yeah, I know some people with a $100 phone will be happy, but the majority won't be. Especially not because of warranty things and issues and language and importing, and that's all just not quite worth it. Camera was actually not that bad. So yeah, that was 20. Oh yeah, I wanted to get to that real quick. I completely forgot. So my highlights in terms of phones, maybe also other things of 2017. For me, the highlight, the phone of the year, the Xiaomi Mi Note 3. It's not quite yet my daily drive. I still have most of my things on the next impressive device, the Xiaomi Mi 6. I love that because of the design and so on. This one, just a little bit better battery, a little bit bigger screen, but not really harder to hold because it's actually lighter. The display is a little bit nicer calibrated. Speakers are super loud. Software is the same. The cameras are even better. So even though performance on paper is not quite as good in normal use, it's the same. And this is the best phone, not just for the bang of the buck, but in general, because I have the Xiaomi Mi Mix 2 here as well. I could own a Galaxy Note 8, I could own a V30, but I chose this over everything, over a Pixel and anything. Other devices, U11 was great. Didn't review the Pixels. The Nokia 8 I really liked a lot. The U Ultra was nice. Sony's were nice, but I don't really want to call too much out here. In terms of the laptops, Huawei MateBook X I loved a lot. The Dell XPS 13 2-in-1 was great. The Surface laptop was nice. The book not so much, but those stand out for me. And for the headphones, I have some highlights. My Yamaha MT5, love them. For this price and even way above the best closed one at all. My Monolith M1060s, these here. Great. I know a lot of people have some reserved thoughts about them because we have the modem and so on, which I didn't do yet, but great. The Biodynamic MX 300, I would still say are the best, at least for right now, gaming headset, but I also just got recently the HyperX Cloud Alpha, which at this price seems to be the best. At around 100 seems to be the best. Also, yeah, that's the ones I want to call out. Of course, the Odyssey LCD-X, which I have to return, unfortunately, are not to be mentioned. They are on another league in terms of price. But yeah, these were my highlights. I hope you enjoyed this. Like I said, it will be close to an hour already anyways, and it did turn out to this as well. But yeah, 2017 was a very exhausting year. I still make too much videos, but now being a little bit more casual about it, a little bit more loose with it, being in a way better mental stability and motivation than I was, like, let's say a few months, let's say September, October, a little bit of November were a little bit of weird months for me, maybe even a little bit before. So now I'm in such a great state where I accepted where I am, where I accepted, or I kind of appreciate that I'm way bigger than I ever would have expected to be. Of course, the one thing that still bugs me a little bit are the views in comparison to the subscribers, because 60,000 subscribers, but still so many videos at just around 1,500 views, some even below that. That's a little bit unfortunate, and it's just pretty much the smartphone reviews that get worth mentioning reviews. Views. All the rest, not really. It's a little bit sad. Which just shows me that the way I do my content maybe just isn't cut out for more. Otherwise, it would have already happened. But it's what it is. Like I said, I'm happy with that. And as long as I can keep that, that's just the thing why I'm concerned about. As long as I can keep doing this. But since I am relying pretty much on all the press agencies, shops that I work with, yeah, at some point it could happen that they say, yeah, you don't make enough views and so on. I don't know if that will happen. Or especially with the headphone reviews. If someone sees I have 500 views for a headphone, why should I send him one? It doesn't make sense. But I'm not gonna. My opinion won't. My opinion won't change anyways. Isn't on the table. That I would make more positive reviews and maybe then get more views. I don't think that would actually make an impact, because these headphone reviews were super positive, because what I review in terms of headphones are great ones. I already filter out the worst ones as good as I can. So that's why they are just positive. So same goes for the speakers that I will test and so on. I already picked the ones that I find interesting, and if they are interesting, I just won't review it. And if that, I will say it. But if that will have an impact on the next year, because I have to say, I have, even in 17, got a lot of more, and IFA was quite important, even though I didn't make so much contact with other brands. But due to IFA, I got in contact with Skull Candy, even though I just got one headphone. They never returned the reply from me. I think they didn't get the views. But I got in contact with a few companies, and on CanJam I got a little bit some contacts with Shure, for example, Odyssey, maybe IFA and so on. At least the distributors here in Germany. And this is actually way more important. So this year I will go to Hi-Fi in Munich. I will go to IFA once again. And I definitely plan on getting things done. But most importantly for me, I want to just do what I like to do, share this with you in video terms, and have fun. Because whatever I reach from now, higher is a bonus. As long as I keep getting devices from those companies, and maybe once in a while get a few new ones to broaden the spectrum, that's all I can wish for. I don't really need much more. That's totally great for me. I just hope, as long as it lives. Let's say an organic growth is fine. I don't need jumping in like twice, 3 times in terms of numbers. If it just stays the way, slowly grows, I'm happy. I just don't want to see it getting down, which could happen, because the next months, January is always a bad month, also February, because there we are already waiting for the next few things to come. They don't really release many devices. That's a good time frame actually for me. So January, February, March to get into the TVs and speakers and so on, because at that point where I don't review phones, since not many get released, I can focus on that and still review a few phones still trickle in. I'm just not quite sure if these few months without the normal amount of, yeah, but it wasn't usually anyways. But what could happen if they see a lot more hi-fi stuff turning up and less phone stuff? A lot of people could say, that's not quite the channel that I subscribe to. Let me unsubscribe. Could happen. Of course, this. I don't know what last year actually was going on in terms of January, February, March, because there was also the normal drought where we just don't have the device. But what did I cover there? I don't really know. Or was I so... I know that these were a few weak months, because it's for the last 4 years been that way. But I can tell you, since about March of 2017, I did not have a lot of free time. I was always busy with at least 5, 6, 7, 8 devices of all sort of kind, like speakers, like headphones, smartphones, tablets, laptops, and yeah. But there was one thing I just wanted to mention. Yeah, Sonos, real quick, yeah, about what I want to do in early 2018 is review the Sonos One, Play One, also from Teufel a few. So I want to get into a few more of these network speakers. I find them really interesting. I want to cover a few more just to get that in some sort of perspective, because it's quite interesting. Also, I have the Sony here, the smart speaker, Google Home, maybe, just so I know how to compare with the Sony and so on. But we'll see. So I would say let's just stop this video. It's way too long already. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked it. And like I said, it won't be such a frequent thing anymore, just because whenever I think it's necessary or if I feel like saying something to you, then I will. And if not, not. Okay, bye.